All right, we are recording, so go ahead and take over, Lisa.
All right, cool. Hello. I think everybody here. Nope, Julie. Don't know Julie. Who else? I guess it. Everybody pretty much knows who I am. I've been with Soul for a little over a year. February, I missed my Soul anniversary. Everybody made a big post about it, and I forgot mine. But I've been with Soul a little over a year. I'm a mama. I am a wife, and I do work full-time outside of work. So that's just a little bit about me. Tonight we are going to be talking about habits. Oh, can you enable my screen sharing, Kristen? Thank you. And any when you guys have questions, don't hesitate to get in there. I don't know what this means. Desktop or application? Let's go with desktop. Give me a second here. All right. Are we working? Give me a second here. Hold on. It's not letting me move this. All right. All right, cool. I think we're in business. All right, so we're going to talk about habits. I had this idea to talk about building and breaking habits, but that's just too much stuff. So we're going to set some framework for building habits. And hopefully you guys can hear me and stuff because I can't see anything else. And for some reason, I can't. I can't see that either. So, all right, we're just going to go with it. And you guys, I am not feeling well right now. I feel like I'm having a hot flash. So if I just like dart out of the room, it's because I might have had to puke. So bear with me. Okay, so habits. We all have them, right? A lot of our habits are unconscious and we don't even realize that we're doing it. Can someone send me a message and just let me know that you guys can hear me? Because I can't see you. Okay. All this material that we're going over is from the book Atomic Habits. If you have heard of or read this book, please let me know. I wish I could say I could see you, but I can't. There's got to be a way to do this. Hold on. This is annoying me. Okay. Anyhow, we're just gonna go with it. I love it.
We can hear you just fine.
Thank you. Yeah, I can't see you.
And you won't be able to see us. I'm sorry.
I don't like this. This is not like the setup I like. Okay. Anyways, so came from the book Atomic Habits. I started reading this book. I've seen it I think it came out in 2018, and I've seen it, but I just never have got around to reading it. I'm still not 100% done with reading it. It's that much information. But I think we have a good framework of information to give to you guys. So let's get started with a little video to get us excited.
Habits can make you, but they can also break you. You become what you think about, but you also become what you do consistently. Those daily habits, some conscious, some unconscious, will determine if your life is successful or unsuccessful, and if your life is enjoyable or miserable. Let's go through some daily habits of the highly successful, the winners, champions, those who consistently perform at the highest level, those who live life to the fullest. They set goals. There's a saying, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. This is true in business and in life. If you don't have clear targets to shoot toward, you will miss every time. Set goals and then make plans on how you intend to achieve them. When they don't feel like it, They do it anyway. They work when no one is watching. Make it a habit to work your ass off and not to seek recognition or praise for your hard work. No one needs to understand your crime, understand your struggle. You can tell your story when you make it. Far too many people want to be seen as hard workers, but not actually do the work. You want to let your actions do the talking for you. You can't fake results. They prioritize. Most of us humans tend to have far too much on our plate. And believe me, you'll never get it. You have to learn to prioritize your most important tasks and completely drop the insignificant ones. Make sure you always do the highest reward tasks first. Pay someone to do the lawn and clean the house. You are chasing bigger things. Focus, lock in, and over time, the seeds you plant will grow into greatness. Learn! I've never met a successful human that wasn't obsessed with growing, developing, and learning more. All successful people have this in common. They always want to learn more and be better every single day. Replace some of your TV watching with self-development material from the world's greatest teachers, from those who have achieved results, from the real success coaches who walk the walk and talk the talk. Create new daily habits, and I guarantee you, your life will change. Results will start improving very fast. But more than that, you will feel better instantly. You will have juice for life and excited drive to achieve great things. And that is really what it's all about, isn't it? Reaching that place where we are juiced every day. So excited to get the day going, we don't want to sleep. Take action today. Do not wait.
All right, is everybody pumped up? I love those videos. They make me so happy and excited. Okay, so what is a habit? So I like to always define things that are kind of just common words that we think about every single day that we don't really think about what they actually mean and, you know, how they can change us. So a habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic. Another way of saying that is mental shortcuts learned from experience. A lot of times our habits are not conscious, they're subconscious, and that's good because that's our body's way of being smart and being able to do things, you know, that we have so many decisions and thoughts that go through our heads in a given day. You know, a lot of people use the analogy of going to work and you don't even realize driving there because you're just so used to doing it day in and day out. So the book focuses on having a system approach instead of a goal setting approach. So a goal setting approach is all about results, right? So saying that you are going to qualify for Red Rock Valley or you're going to reach 5K. You're focusing on that end result. Whereas a system oriented is a collection of daily habits that you follow that lead to the results. So it's a different way of looking at it and a different way of focused that helps to essentially change who you are in the process. And you do end up reaching those goals when you're doing that. So a system/identity-based outlook is saying that I will complete my CRM daily, which includes, you know, XYZ, whatever that looks like for you. I will work so many number of days a week, or I'll do 10 minutes of a personal development every single day, you know, whatever that looks like for you. So focusing on the system is it's a different way to get the same results. And it's not based on just that simple goal. Okay, so when you are thinking about this, you want to ask yourself, what is someone who is a 5K, and I'm just using that as an example, what do they do every day? So you want to focus on doing those every single day. So that is your system. I know we've talked about systems before, but it really is like there's a lot more to it. And when you become that person day by day, over and over, the end result will be achieved. So here's another example. Saying you want to lose X number of pounds. So a goal-oriented thought process would be focusing on reaching the goal at all costs. Whereas a system/identity-oriented thought process would be like 3 days a week, I will exercise 40 minutes a day. And I'm just throwing these, random examples out there. I will eat clean foods 80% of the time. I am healthy right now. Affirmations is huge. Tell yourself you are that person that you want to become, not I will be happy when I am happy now. The focus is on doing the small actions daily to be a healthy person. The weight loss will come naturally. It's a whole different way of really focusing and looking at it. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this is going to explain what I just said a little bit better and a little bit different, because we always learn it differently by someone else saying it. So let's listen to this. Does anybody have any questions, comments, anything before I play this? Just chime up if you do. I have my phone with the Zoom on it now, so I can check the chat too. All right.
Goal setting is fascinating because it's sort of a broken process in many respects. This is the way a goal works. You say to yourself, when I achieve whatever the thing is, that's how I'll know I'll have succeeded, and I'm going to do everything I can to get to that point as quickly as possible. What that means is you exist in a failure state for a long time until you reach that goal, if it's a long-range goal. And so as you evaluate your process, all you get is the negative feedback of not having achieved that goal. Perhaps as you move closer to it, there's some positive feedback. But if the goal is really the end state that you're seeking out, there's a lot of failure before you get there. And now here's the thing, when you do get there, it's a massive anticlimax. So there are people who achieve the highest highs, people who achieve the highest highs in athletics, in business. And if you talk to them and you ask them to describe what it's like to reach their goals, they say things like, I got there and it was an incredible anticlimax. The minute I got there, I had to start something new. I had to find a new goal. And that's partly because there's something really unsatisfying about the moment of reaching the goal. Unless it has its own benefits that come from reaching the goal, if it's just a sort of signpost, that doesn't do much for us. It doesn't nourish us psychologically. And what that ends up meaning is that we have to try and find something new. So really, if you look at life as a series of goals, which for many of us it is, it's a period of being unsuccessful in achieving the goal, then hitting the goal, then feeling like you haven't really got much from that goal, going to the next one. And it's a sort of series of escalating goals. A really good example of this is, say, smartwatches or Fitbits or exercise watches. People, when they get those watches, a lot of them hit on the number 10,000. I want to walk 10,000 steps. When you do that, the thing will beep. You'll feel pretty good about it for a minute, but then that feels a little hollow, and the goal escalates over time. People will describe going from 10 to 11 to 12 to 14,000 steps to the point where they're moving through injuries, through stress-related injuries, because the goal is there. They respond to the goal more than they do to their internal cues. And basically, there's something really unfulfilling about that. The reason the goal keeps escalating and becoming more and more intense is because when they achieve the goal, they don't actually get anything for that achievement. And so goals generally, I think, are in many ways broken processes. I think part of the problem with goals is that they don't tell you how to get to where you're going. A better thing to do is to use a system. So the idea behind a system rather than a goal is that a system is saying things like, I'm a writer. My goal is to finish writing this book, but I'm not going to think about it that way. Eventually, I'll have 100,000 words, but what my system will be that for an hour every morning, I will sit in front of my computer screen and I will type. It doesn't matter what that looks like. I'm not going to evaluate the number of words. I'm not going to set some benchmark, some artificial number or benchmark that I should reach. What I'm going to do is just say, here's my system, an hour a day in front of the screen, will do what I can, bam. And the thing is, every time you set a system and you stick to it, you're achieving something. Instead of a goal that you're failing, essentially, for long periods of time until you reach the goal, you're succeeding every day as long as you adhere to your system. And you end up getting to the same place, but that framing is so much more effective. It gives you the kind of positive feedback you seek. And a system is kind of geared towards psychological well-being. This is the thing I need to do to feel good about the way I'm moving through the world towards whatever end state I'm looking for. Goals don't do that. They just set signposts that you're supposed to look at from afar and move towards. Systems are a much more useful way of engaging with the world towards certain ends and certain outcomes.
All right, so what do you guys think? Is your system so far, is it, or I'm sorry, your way of doing things? And let's talk about soul, because obviously that's why we're here, right? Is it goal oriented or system based? Just a couple people to share, and then we'll move on. I can't see you, so whoever can chime up. I can see you now. Kristen says system for sure. Anybody else want to talk? Or maybe you don't know. Maybe you're just like, I don't know.
I would say that I'm kind of a mix of goal or system. Like I feel like I'm more system based. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of in between there. I feel like I'm definitely more of a system now.
Okay. I've always been a goal person. Always been like, my goal is to blank. I want to run a marathon. I want to run a half marathon. I want to get to 5K. I want to, like, that's always been my thing. And then of course you do the steps, the processes to get to that point that you want to get to. But this like mindset shift was kind of big for me. Because like with a system, I read what you wrote, Holly. I feel like it lowers my stress level when I think about it differently, because I just feel that stress of reaching that number, and that's a high number for me. And I know it's important to set realistic goals and all that, but a lot of times we don't. And so it kind of feels out of reach. So by doing the systems, it also gives me like small wins every single day. I'm going toward that, and it just helps me move forward in a more positive way. So as far as, the system identity-based habits, he talks about two ways to get there. First, decide who you want to be, and then prove it to yourself with small ones every day. You can apply that to your business, to your, personal life, personal goals, whatever the case may be. It seems very simple, but you know how that goes. Just because it's easy doesn't mean it's simple. Is simple easy? I don't know. You know how that saying goes. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our habits list. Okay. So I want you to imagine a day in the life of yourself and observe your daily behavior with an unbiased kindness. We are not tearing ourselves down when we do this. Imagine like you're watching yourself just do life. And we're going to make ourselves aware of our daily habits so that if there's anything that we can change, it'll bring it into that awareness, because until you make the unconscious conscious, you're not going to be able to change it, right? So I'll give you a little example of this. And all you need is a piece of paper, a pen. If you're driving, I don't think anybody was driving that I could see. Maybe you could do this later. You're going to have some time to do this. Because I'm going to teach again, I'm going to do the call again in a couple weeks, and we will go over some of this. But basically one column is the daily habits, and you literally start when you wake up. And next to that, you're going to put whether your habit is positive, negative, or neutral. And to start from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. And you can do it on like a typical work week, and you might have two different lists at some point, like, work week / weekend. It might look a lot different for you. And you're just writing down, again, it's an unbiased, just objective look at what you do and what your habits are every single day. And if you're stuck, then ask yourself, does this behavior help me become the type of person I wish to be or not? So if it does, go with positive. If it doesn't, negative. And then kind of, neither one, do neutral. Okay, so anybody have questions? All right, we're gonna do that for, what time is it? Man, it's already 8:07. we'll just do 5 minutes because you're gonna continue this on your own later, if you want to.
I have a question, Lisa.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's positive, negative, depending on how we feel about it, or if we do that thing.
If you do it, write it down what your current habits are. And then is that a positive or negative? Do you view that as positive or negative? So like me hitting my snooze twice, it's something I do every single day. I consider that a negative because I wish I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Might be something that I want to change.
What
know
if we wake up like tired, not ready to get out of bed?
Yeah.
Would be a negative.
I don't
And
know.
it varies from day to day. I like to be difficult.
No, that's okay. It just what your, I mean, you know what,
Okay.
I mean, like, it's like if I said, like for me, if I hit the snooze, like I love hitting the snooze, okay? Like this is something I love. I love that moment that I get to sleep 3 more minutes or 5 more minutes. So like once or twice, I'm okay with, or once I'm okay with, but I would like to be able to not do it twice. You know what I mean? So and everybody's gonna have a different,
Yeah, I snooze all the time, and I'm gonna tell you, it is not a negative. It is part of my morning routine. It's how I greet the day.
okay. So for you, it's fine. So it's going to be different for everybody. And this is just an example. You don't have to start with hit snooze twice, right? You can just start with wake up, go to whatever you do, but just make that list of those daily habits. And there's no wrong answer, right? This is your life. We're just trying to bring into awareness what you do on a daily basis, and obviously getting as specific as you can, so you can, figure out what you may need to or want to alter a little bit. Anybody else? Oops.
Okay, so would it be neutral since I don't snooze? I don't have an alarm. My body clock is the alarm.
Well, the snoozing, I don't think is the factor, right? Like if you wake up based on your own body's clock,
Okay.
then that is your habit. I wake up every morning when my body allows me to, and that's your thing. My thing is that my alarm goes off and I'm going to hit that snooze at least twice. And I want those 9 minutes each time.
Right. Yep. Does that make sense, Angela? So I would just, it doesn't have to say what I put. I'm just giving you my examples. But just waking up by my own body clock plus, I mean, I consider that a plus.
I would think that would be a plus, but like, how do you feel about it?
Are you talking to Angela?
She's thinking.
Oh, I was like, didn't know. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes I'm very much a morning person. So I like getting up. Like when I wake up, I'm usually ready to go. But I feel like in the last like couple years, like my body's like just not ready. Maybe it's the last year. Like I just am like not dreading the day, but it's just like to get up, like I don't know. I'm not like a I don't know, I'm not a rooster anymore where I just like I'm ready to get up and start my day. I'm just once I get up and going, I'm fine. Like once I make it downstairs.
Yeah. So like a typical week for you, maybe you could put wake up not refreshed, you know,
Mhm.
and that just might give you that thought, okay, where is that coming from? And that'll give you those, you can, go into that in your thought process and figure out, okay, what do I need to do to be more refreshed, right? So by listing that habit, you're already showing yourself that, this isn't how it used to be and how it is now. All right, so I'm going to try to put some music on here if I can't figure this out. Maybe. Oh. Okay, so what stood out for you guys, if anything, about your list? I will just say that I have not done this. I literally just showed that example. And I just started doing it right now. And what my thought was inconsistency. Like I have a lot of inconsistency with what I mean, I thought this would be way easier than it is. So what about you guys?
I try to cram too much into a short amount of time, and I'm
Yeah.
seeing I need to spread that out, whether I need to get up earlier or something, even though I hate waking up. That's a definite negative for me. I would rather be up till 2 a.m. every night. So it's tricky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that too. Like I put wake up and then I put wake up last minute because realistically, I always wake up at the very last minute that I have to go get my kids from the bus because I'm always not getting enough sleep. So even if I woke up 5 minutes earlier, that would give me time to make my coffee, which would make my day better, right? Pamela said, I'm not spending time doing what I really want to do. I'm also a night owl. Yeah. And so you got to ask yourself, okay, is that being a night owl? Is that something you've adjusted to and something that you make work? Or is it something that isn't working for you? You know what I mean? Anybody else?
I'll go. I think it's hard and I think it's a constant adjustment for me. But I feel like some of my positives can also be a negative because in setting boundaries for business, we talk about office hours and um, sometimes it's easy to be always on. And so I think one of my negatives is not ever shutting off the working Amy. And I need to get better about that. I start to feel that as the day goes on. I have my work hours and then I'm supposed to have my homeschool hours, but things start to factor in. You want to be available, but there's that word that Kristen hates is called balance. And so finding where that fits and being able to serve people and be there for them, and let them know that you care and you want to be there, but also being able to shut that off and also be unavailable sometimes because you need to be not only working Amy, but also mom Amy. And so the negative for me is that those lines get blurred and I'm constantly trying to adjust and readjust those because even though they can be positive things, they can also be negative things depending on where my time should be being spent, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. And imagine what could be so even a small shift in creating one new habit that you do on top of, which we'll talk about in a second, on top of something you already do, even if it's for 5 minutes, how much more that could help you just feel more centered or more at ease with your schedule. Anybody else before we move on? Okay, so next up, am I echoing to you guys? No, okay. So 2 things that are mentioned as far as starting a new habit, 2 strategies you can use. One's called the implementation intention and the other one is called habit stacking. So implementation intention is a plan that you make beforehand about when and where to act. So as you look at your list and you see something that is negative that you would want to change or modify or whatever, this is one way you can do it. So you say, when situation X arises, I will perform response Y. So I will, whatever the behavior is, at a certain time in a certain location. So an example of that, if you're talking about meditation, I will meditate for 1 minute at 1 a.m. in my kitchen. So it's very specific with the time and the place. As far as exercise example, I will exercise for 1 hour at 5 p.m. in my local gym. A business example, I will complete my CRM 3 days a week before I end my day. So my particular time varies, and while in my office at my home. So, you know, Amy, you could say after I, as far as your hours, you know, from 5 to 6 p.m., I will not go on my phone because I am cooking dinner with my kids. At 5 p.m., I will turn off my phone and leave it on the kitchen counter, right? So that's following that, that outline. And then the other way to do it is by habit stacking. So that's stacking a new behavior onto a current behavior. So this tends to be easier as far as making those habits like stick. So after whatever the current habit is, I will stick in the new habit. So some examples of that are, so meditation, after I pour my cup of coffee each morning, which is something that I do every single morning or every single afternoon, depending on the time for me, I will meditate for 1 minute. Or exercise, after I take off my work clothes or work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes. So that's stacking on top of those habits already of me pouring the cup of coffee or coming home and taking off my work clothes or work shoes. So it seems pretty simple. The key is to put it all together and start implementing it. So that is your challenge. So I'm going to be leading the call in 2 weeks again, and we're going to revisit this. So what I challenge you to do is choose 1 or 2 new habits led by your values, your principles, your identity of whom you want to be, and incorporate and that could be the person you are right now. Don't make that, I don't want that to sound like, I don't think any of you who are you supposed to be, but incorporate them into your daily life. So the focus should be on becoming that type of person, not getting a particular outcome. Again, that system-based versus the goal-based. And then I want you to share with us in 2 weeks. So those 2 formats, the first one is the habit stacking. After current habit, I will new habit. And then the second thing I actually reverse those. I should have wrote them differently. I will whatever behavior at blank time and in blank location. So, and when we write this down, studies have shown that when we actually write it down, it improves the odds of you doing it a lot. If you actually write down whatever that thing is. And it's all outlined in this book. And it goes into way, way, way more detail as far as steps to, you know, it's a lot more detailed. But this is kind of a very quick synopsis of it. And then one more thing before I finish up is your environment matters. So it talks a lot about that. So we are a product of the environment we live in. So it's very, very hard to change a habit or add a new habit if you're in an environment that is set up for you not to be successful. So that's a big part. So a lot of times just not putting yourself in that environment will help you be more successful. So clearly, if you're trying to eat healthier foods, if you have a, you know, kitchen full of unhealthy foods, it's going to be much harder to not choose those unhealthy foods than if you just don't have it in your house or in your particular cabinet or whatever. You get what I'm saying? Kind of like, so environment. So when I come in here in this office, this is my space to work, my space to do my devotions and such. So that is where I get more done compared to if I'm working at my couch, you know, and the kids are running around and my husband has TV on and all that stuff. So environment is very important. All right. So questions, comments, concerns, thoughts?
Lisa, you want to take it off share screen?
Yep, I'm trying to do that right now. How do I do it? Pause share.
Here, I can do it.
You're so fast.
That was amazing. How many of you guys?
It's a lot.
How many of you guys had a little bit of a gut punch during this call? Where you're like, oh man, you know, I do that. something I was reflecting on as you were talking is it's really all about perspective. You know, is Holly still on? Or did she get off? I think she got off. But what Holly was saying, even about the snooze, like to Lisa or to me or whomever, like snooze might seem like a negative habit, but to other people, that's something they really enjoy. And I was laughing because I was like, okay, I wake up and I hit snooze. Snooze part's a negative thing. I need to work on that. Then I drink my cinnamata and I catch up on the political events. And some people would be like, negative, but it's something I'm really interested in. So I don't think that's a negative. Like I'm interested in. Some people read books about plants, or, learn how to knit. I like politics. And so I just think that there's such perspective in this, but it's such a gut punch at the same time. Because like I actually was feeling like a little bit of resistance. Like I didn't really want to write anything down. So like Angela said, that usually means that there's growth, like that awareness of knowing some things need to change is part of the growth. And sometimes we resist that growth. So that's what I was thinking about. What did you guys think?
I feel like Pamela wants to talk, but she's not, if she wants to.
Pam, did you want to say something?
No.
You could type it if you want. Go ahead, Kristen. Were you waiting to say something?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool how God works. Because today I was like, I'm on like day 6 of the cleanse. So I'm like an emotional mess. And I was like, I'm just going to blame it on that. But I think this is cool because it was like, I was like, I just need to start my day different. Like I need to get up earlier and I need to do some things before like the hecticness of the day actually gets going. So I was literally thinking that to myself, and then we had this call. So I'm like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to try it. I might be even more crabby at 6 a.m. than I am at 7, but I'm going to try it and see if it goes better. So that's just
since
cool how
since our kids go to the same school and we live like 2 blocks from each other, we have like the same distance and whatnot. So what time do you wake up in the morning?
6:50 or 7.
Yeah. Like I used to be that person too. Like when I was a school teacher, I'd be like walking in the door with the kids because I never was a morning person, which is like stress in itself because you're like trying to get ready as your students are literally coming in the classroom. I don't know how I did it, but just something, like something to reflect on is I know that you're someone who really likes to be in the Word and things like that. So when I'm drinking my cinnamate and I'm looking at politics, that's like a really relaxing time for me. You guys think I'm crazy, I know. But catching up on like the news that happened overnight and like knowing what's going on in the world, like I just love that. And so for you, you might find that like getting up a little bit earlier and having that time to drink a hot cup of cinnamate or coffee or whatever, and be in the Word or to read a book or whatever, that just might start your day on a more peaceful track. And I'll tell you what, now that I've established that, if I do oversleep, I'm like a really not nice mom because I didn't have my time.
And it doesn't have to be an hour. You don't have to go from, make it 5 minutes, make it 10 minutes, that little, just little bitty amounts. And you'd be surprised how much like that can make, it can really help your overall day and your mood and all of that. And everybody has 5 minutes, you know what I mean? Like you can do 5 minutes. So it's not so daunting.
And when you do create that habit, just for the record, Kristen knows my journey. I was never a morning person, and it became something that I love and cherish for all the reasons that she just said. Being in the Word, I used to hate working out. Now I get up earlier and I do that. And now the negative for me is that I can't sleep in if I want to because it's switched. It's like now it's like my biological clock goes off like was it Angela who was saying that? And I'm like, no, 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 go back to sleep, go back to sleep, sleep in, because it just becomes part of you. And it's such a cool thing to watch that evolve and change. And, but yeah, it's really a cool process to watch that growth happen. So I don't know, just had to add that in. There is hope for you is what I'm trying to tell you, because I was the hopeless and here I am living the dream of waking up early, you know?
I can vouch for it because we used to carpool, and I think both of us were like flying down Klein Avenue trying to get our kids to school at time. Now I drop my kids off at like 7:29. No, I'm that mom. I'm like, the longer they're at school, the more work I get done. No, I'm just kidding.
Can't they like not even go in until 7:30?
If they walk really slow, they can.
Okay. All right. Well, in a year from now, you guys can ask me and let me know. My counselor told me you can change and be a morning person. I didn't believe her, but maybe if I see you guys, maybe I have hope.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lisa. Anybody else have anything to add before we wrap up? And I have to say, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Kristen.
You're doing fine.
Try being a morning person and a night person. I struggled with that for a long time. And now I'm like a really, really early bird person, anywhere from 3:30 in the morning to 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock is sleep in for me. But my boss is trying to teach me to sleep in.
Oh.
So I'm an early morning person. So it's like, that's when I'm the most productive, versus I can do an all-nighter and be an all-night person too, but I'm more productive in the morning. So I like to get up as early as possible.
That's a
always been
gift.
a morning person or an evening person. I'm not either. Like, I just love and cherish sleep that much. Like, I can go to sleep at 8 o'clock every single day, and then I can wake up at 9 or 10 in the morning every single morning, and I'd be fine. So there's that struggle.
Yeah, but you also work nights, and so it's a whole nother ballgame.
I've been like that my whole life, though, girl. My best friend used to hate me when I was in the night because it's like 9 o'clock, and I'm like ready for bed, and she's like, "What's happening? It's only 9 o'clock." I'm like, "I'm tired."
Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna stop recording, and then I gotta tell you guys something.